Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and in this video we are gonna do another scavenger hunt 2.0. Now, if you haven't been here before, this isn't too different from regular scavenger hunts. I have a handful of prompts that I've come up with that I have in a jar, and I have my starter prompt written out. I take my most recent 5-star read, and that is my starter book, and we go from there. And I choose 5 different prompts out of my jar, and then the way that I do this to make it a little bit more of a challenge for me is that I read whatever books I choose for the scavenger hunt that I have not yet read. So I can kind of skew things as difficult or as easy as I want them. I'm wanting to get this video up on Friday, so I'm probably going to try and keep it fairly easy on myself, but 2 or 3 books would kind of be my goal. So that being said, let's get into it. So my very first starter prompt is obviously to grab my most recent 5-star read and then pick an author that blurbed it and find a book by that author. So my most recent 5-star read is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. I finished this at the end of October and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I am currently in the middle of Carl's Doomsday Scenario right now. I'm kind of reading this on the side, and I'm actually a little over halfway now. I'm more like 2/3 of the way through this, and I'm really enjoying it. This book picks up literally right where the first one leaves off, so I was really glad that I didn't wait to start this one, and I'm really excited to continue in this series. So either way, this first book, and actually I think both of them are blurbed by the same people. So this book is blurbed by Felicia Day, Scott Lynch, and Will White. So the only one of those authors, I've heard of Felicia Day, but the number one that sticks out for me is Scott Lynch. That is the author of the Gentleman Bastard series. So let me grab one of those books and we'll get this going. All right, so here we are. We have The Lies of Locke Lamora. This is book 1 in the Gentleman Bastards trilogy. I have read books 1 and 2, absolutely loved them, gave them 5 stars, and I still have not read book 3. I don't know why I'm putting it off. I really don't. I kind of want to reread the first 2 books now because it's been a few years since I read them before I read the 3rd one. But either way, love this book so much. It was so immersive. It was like 6 of Crows, but better, like, and for grown-ups, like for adult readers. And I loved it. So this is our first one. Obviously, like I said, I've read the first 2 books, so I've already read that. And now let's pick our first prompt out of the jar, which technically is prompt number 2. Sorry, the lighting, the sun's coming up. It's how it is. So our second prompt is to pick another author with the same initials as the previous author. So SL. Do I have any with SL? I don't even know. Or LS. I could do LS. So this is outdated, but for SL, we have Sean Lusk for Second Sight of Zachary Cloudsley. And I think that's it. Let's look at LS real quick. Lucy Score, Lila Sage, Lilith St. Crow, Lisa C. What do I want to choose? So I think I'm gonna go with Lisa C because I think it's right behind me. Yes, it is. Okay. So for LS, we're gonna go with Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. I read this. I gave it 4.5 or 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I thought that it was a really interesting look into women's medicine in 15th century China, and I loved it. I don't read a lot of historical fiction anymore, but this one was super interesting and I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. If you're into historical fiction and you're into like women back in the day and like seeing what they had to deal with and things that they went through, I think it's really interesting. So I loved this one. All right, now let's pick, oh my God, that sun's getting so much worse. Can I like back up? Oh yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Is that a little bit better? Okay. All right, prompt number 3. We don't have any books yet, so that's not bad. Okay, so our next one is pick an item on the cover and find another book with that item on the cover or in the title. So we have jewels and flowers and her and let's see, what could I do? A woman, leaves. It's always with this one that it's an item on the cover. I feel like it is. Flowers. What other books have flowers? Ooh, I know what I could do. I know what I could do. I know what I could do. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, hold on. Let me go get it. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna go with Scotch on the Rocks because we have the pink, oh my gosh, the sun. The pink flowers on the cover of this one and the pink flowers on this one. This one is on my November TBR, so this is perfect. It'll get this one out of the way right off the bat this month, and I love the first book. This is the second book to Whiskey Business by Elliot Fletcher, and this is following the Maccabee brothers and a group of women friends in this Scottish town, and I loved it. And so yeah, I'm really excited to pick this one up. So this will be the first book that I will be actually reading for this video. Well, maybe not first book I'm reading for the video, but this is the first one that's on my TBR for this video. All right, sorry, this lighting sucks. Okay, so let's pick prompt number 4. Let's go with this one. I'm trying to like stay back so I'm out of the sun. And that is to find a book that's title or author name, goodness, I can't read my writing, starts with the last letter of the previous book. Okay, so the very last letter in this book, not including the acknowledgements, is Lucky. So the last letter is Y. The title or author name starts with Y. Ooh, should I do this one? I think that would be really fun. So I think I'm gonna go with You'd Look Better as a Ghost. This is by Joanna Wallace. And this one is supposed to be a thriller, but it sounded really fun. It says, I have a gift. I see people as ghosts before they die. Of course, it helps that I'm the one killing them. That line right there is literally why I bought this book. I loved it. So it says, the night after her father's funeral, Claire meets Lucas in a bar. Lucas doesn't know it, but it's not a chance meeting. One thoughtless, mistyped email has put him in the crosshairs of an extremely annoyed serial killer. But even before Claire takes him home and carves him up into little pieces, something about that night is very wrong. Because someone is watching Claire, someone who is about to discover her murderous little hobby. The thing is, it's not sensible to tangle with a part-time serial killer, even one who is distracted by attending a weekly bereavement support group and trying to get her art career off the ground. Will Claire finish off her blackmailer before her pursuer reveals all? Let the games begin. You're dead to me, literally. So it sounds like it's going to be a great time, and I'm really excited. I've wanted to read this one for a while, and I think it would be a fun little thriller to throw in with this stack. So that will be book number 2 that I read. And last prompt. Let's pick a good one. I only have like 8 prompts in here, so if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. All right, and our last one is to pick a book that is the same genre. Okay, that's pretty easy. We have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is one of the very first thrillers that I ever read. Absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars. It's still one of my all-time favorites. Everything else that I've read by him, everything he's come out with since this one, I think it fell a little bit flat for me because I didn't quite push the bar far enough like this one did. And I still think about this book. I love this book. This book was absolutely amazing. So that will be our last choice. So I think that's a perfect little setup for me for this week. So to go back through this again, we have my most recent 5-star read. This is the second book, but I'm reading it right now and I can pretty much guarantee it's going to be 5 stars. So we have my most recent 5-star read, and we chose a book that was blurbed on the back by another author and found a book by that author. So we have Scott Lynch and the Lies of Loch Lomora. Read this, loved it, gave it 5 stars. That one, we had to find another author with the same initials. We went from SL to LS, and we have Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. That one, we had to choose something from the cover and find a book with that same thing on the cover or in the title. And so I chose Scotch on the Rocks by Elliot Fletcher. That one led us to take the last letter in the book, the last letter of the last word, and find a book or an author with that letter in the title. And so I chose You Look Better as a Ghost by Joanna Wallace. And then we had to choose something with the same initial, or with the same genre, and I chose The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. So not bad at all. And the two books that I will be reading for this week are technically finishing Carl's Doomsday Scenario, but I will be reading You Look Better as a Ghost and Scotch on the Rocks for this video. So very, very excited for these. One's on my TBR, one is just in general on the books that I need to read. And so yeah, very, very excited for this. I think I might, ooh, I don't know which one I want to start with, honestly. I don't know. I'm gonna have to kind of do some thinking. And I think my daughter tried to put some of my makeup on. So I need to go take care of that. But I will start one of these books today. You got lots of feathers. So I'm going to make a decision on which one I want to start reading today. Today is actually November 3rd. It is my husband's 30th birthday. So I have lots of things that I need to do today. I'm going to be making a deer tenderloin for dinner from the deer that we shot and harvested and processed here at our house. And so I'm going to be making that for dinner tonight. I'm very nervous, but very excited for that. I have to run down to town to get a cheesecake and some other things that we need here at the house, maybe a bottle of wine. And I don't know, so I have a lot of stuff that I need to do today, but I'm very, very excited for this week and these couple of books. And so yeah, I will talk to you guys when I have an actual update on the first book. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hey, what's up guys? So I'm already off to a great start. I did not get any B-roll, but we just got back from town and I got stuff unloaded. So I ended up getting one of the big variety cheesecakes, which are always good. Cheesecake in general we love. And got some necessities for the week, garbage bags and things like that. And then I wanted to get a bottle of wine to go with our deer tonight. And I have no idea what to get when it comes to wine. All I remember from taking French in high school was red wine is meant for red meat or pairs well with red meat, and then white wine pairs well with like chicken and fish. So I was kind of going off of that, and then I Googled like what wine goes with venison, and I ended up finding that online that a Cabernet Sauvignon supposed to go well with red wine, and honestly the only way that I judge wine is by the pretty pictures. So I don't know if it's gonna be any good or not, but I got this one. And it's called the Juggernaut, and that's a really cool looking lion on there. And so it says that the grapes are grown in challenging conditions where true grit and determination yield spectacular results. Tenacious Cabernet Sauvignon vines struggle to find perches on steep, rocky hillsides with well-draining soils, inspiring roots to burrow deep in search of life-sustaining moisture. The reward is a fierce, brave, velvety wine with intense black fruit and hints of vanilla and anise, leading to a long, bold finish. Overcoming hardship builds character. So I always love reading the descriptions on wines. I think they're so interesting how they describe them. But yeah, so it's a cool bottle and a little bit more expensive than what I normally get, but this is a special occasion. It's his 30th birthday. So I got a fancy wine for us to try with dinner tonight. We have some sparkling cider in the fridge that the kids could drink. I got some cheapy little plastic wine glasses because we don't have wine glasses because we don't normally need them. But I got some cheapy little wine glasses, and one of them was cracked already, so that's wonderful. But it was a pack of 4, so there's still ones that we can use at least. So that's something. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm gonna read for a few hours. I stopped at the post office to see if his birthday gift was here yet, and he had just gotten there. So he still had to unload and sort all the mail and stuff. So we're gonna go back there here in a couple hours and check again. So hopefully it's here. I also have a book for him called The Transvaal Saga by Gary Paulson. It's one that he read when he was a kid and he loved it. And I was able to find it on Pango. So I have that stashed away for him as well. My daughter picked out a balloon for him, which is an Angry Birds balloon because she loves Angry Birds. So that's really fun. And so yeah, now we're just gonna kind of read and hang out until it gets to be right around 3 o'clock. I did start Scotch on the Rocks this morning before we left. I'm not very far into it, only like 20 or so pages, but it took me a minute to kind of get back into like who's who and what's going on and stuff like that. But I'm hoping now that I'm kind of starting to get back into things, I'm hoping it'll kind of all come together like it should. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm gonna go read some of Scotch on the Rocks and maybe some more Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then I'll come back and give you an update when I have a little bit more cohesive thoughts on what's happening in Scotch on the Rocks. So far this is kind of a ex-boyfriend's brother and a second chance romance kind of establishing, I think is how it's gonna be, because our main character Juniper, right? Juniper? She was previously engaged to another one of the Maccabee brothers, Alistair, and now she is kind of having, or going to have, I believe, a thing with Callum, and he is the oldest brother. So yeah, so we're gonna have like a ex's older brother kind of situation here. And so yeah, I'm really intrigued. I'm excited to see what happens. He is, I believe after he got out of the military, he is now a vet. So the part that I'm at, they're having a party for our main character from the first book, and they're having like just a small beach party, and he found an otter. His nieces actually found an otter that had been hurt. So yeah, that's kind of all that's happened so far. I'm not very far into it, but I'm gonna go keep reading, and I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I'll have to come back and let you know if I like it or not, because I'm not usually a red wine drinker, but yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, and I will check back in with you guys later on when I actually have some thoughts on this book, because so far I'm not really there yet. But so it's been a couple of days since I came on here and updated you. Good morning. It is now Wednesday. And okay, let me backtrack. So Monday, I made a deer tenderloin for dinner, had a new bottle of wine to try. The wine, first impressions, we didn't like it. We tried it again last night and we liked it better. Not my normal first choice. Red wine is not my forte at all. But it wasn't bad. The tenderloin turned out fantastic. We were very, very happy with it. The cooking, like I seared it in the pan and had a rosemary garlic butter that we basted it in, and it turned out really, really great. So very happy with that. We only wish that it was a larger tenderloin. But definitely a recipe that I'm going to hang on to and try again. That was from the Meat Eaters, Steve Rennell website. It was one of his recipes. So very pleased with that. And then yesterday I went to town and did a bunch of different things in town, but I did some reading as well. And then I came home and I made deer steaks. I made chicken fried steak with homemade gravy and green beans and fried potatoes. So that turned out really, really good. Very, very happy with it. We were worried that it was going to be super gamey tasting. My trick with that is that with any kind of deer meat or any kind of wild game that I cook, I always try and soak it in some milk first. The milk kind of helps pull any kind of stray hairs or any of that gaminess. It kind of helps to offset that, and so that things aren't as gamey. So if you are ever cooking wild game, it's definitely something to think about. I don't know if there's anybody that watches my channel that cooks wild game, but anyways, so yeah, yesterday I made those chicken fried steaks, but I did end up kind of focusing on finishing Carl's Doomsday Scenario. I finished this last night. I know it wasn't really a part of this video, but I did mention that I was in the middle of reading it. So Carl's Doomsday Scenario, I did finish this last night. Gave it 5 stars. Big surprise there. I'm going to be picking up the next book as soon as possible to continue on in this series. It's just so fun. and I'm trying to talk my husband into trying them out. They're different than what he normally reads. They're a lot more lighthearted than what he normally reads, but I think he could really, really enjoy them if he tries them. So I will be hopefully getting the next book very, very soon. I don't want to wait to continue on in this series just because the next book follows like directly after the first one, so I don't want to wait too long and forget anything. So the sun is once again coming up. I'm using this book to kind of shield the light from my face. But yeah, loved this. I gave it 5 stars. I have also made really, really great progress in Scotch on the Rocks by Elliot Fletcher. I did start this one. I mentioned it, I believe, in my last update that I had just barely started it. Now I am about halfway through. And this book, there is so much tension between these characters, like sexual tension. It is fantastic. I love it. So these characters had kind of a hookup X amount of years ago, and she used to be engaged to his brother, and they broke up, and then they kind of almost hooked up, but he kind of grew a conscience and was like, we don't want to regret this in the morning, so I'm gonna go. And he left. So they have hated each other ever since because she has been denied, and you know, all that stuff. Like it hurt her feelings. And so, but he's always been like totally captivated with her. And this is Callum. He's the oldest of the Maccabee brothers, and June, and she was kind of a foster kid, and she's always just kind of been the odd one out. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this one, is that it's the ex-boyfriend's brother, and they kind of had a thing once. It's kind of a second chance thing that's starting up. Their banter is fantastic. I love the banter in this. I wanted to say these books, like if you liked Lila Sage's Rebel Blue Ranch series, I think that you might like these ones because it gives me the same kind of vibes. They're not cowboys. They're not cowboys by any means, but they are bearded, strong men that are just kind of like the small town, homegrown, you know, like it's the same kind of vibe for the guys in this book. They're just not cowboys. And that's, I think, what I enjoy with this is that they're not exactly cowboys. It doesn't have like the ranch and the horses and things like that, but it still has elements that are like characteristics, character traits that are similar. And I really like that. It's just very much like respecting your elders, looking out for family, and things like that. And I really enjoy that in these books. So I think that if you like the Rebel Blue Ranch series, you might want to give these a try because they are really good. They're obviously set in Scotland, so it is different. But I think it has the same sort of vibes, and they're just really, really great. So I'm loving this so far. I'm planning on trying to finish this one today. Like I'm nearly 200 pages into this book. Thank you. Mwah. So I'm planning on trying to finish it today, and then hopefully I will also be starting You'd Look Better as a Ghost this afternoon if everything works out. If I decide I want to take a break from this, then I'll start that one. This entire week I've had like 2 different books going at a time, and kind of reading one in the morning and then one during the day, the other one during the day, and then going back to the first one in the evening. And I've actually really liked that. It's been kind of nice to kind of have 2 different genres going, with having Dungeon Crawler Carl and with having this one, and it's just been kind of nice that I can kind of change things up as I go. So I'm probably going to start another book later on, but I'm going to read a little bit more of this one today. I am making deer neck roast today. I'm going to do pulled roast with it, like for pulled pork sandwiches or barbecue sandwiches. And so I'm gonna have to get that in the crock pot here pretty soon. I'm just trying to soak it for at least a little while in the fridge. Like I said, milk, it saves everything. But yeah, so I'm gonna be doing that today, but we don't have a whole lot planned today, so I'm pretty much just gonna use this as like tidying up the house and getting some reading done, watching some YouTube, and I really need to do some planning for my actual videos for this month because I don't actually have anything planned out other than the Romantasy Bingo that Covers with Cassidy is doing. I'm planning on participating in that. I'm gonna keep reading and I will talk to you guys when I finish up and hopefully have some more updates. I have started to notice that when I read romance books, as much as I love the bonus scenes, I also kind of hate the bonus scenes because they take away from the ending of the story for me. I finished this book. Now this book did not have a bonus scene. It had an epilogue, but not a bonus scene. And I loved that. I like the 5 months later, a year later, things like that you get in these books, like a little flash into what their life is later. I like that. Like I said, I love the bonus scenes. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the bonus scenes. Bryn Weaver does them with Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark and all those, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But I feel like it takes away from the ending of the story for me. Like, as a romance book, you want the wrapped up in a bow and everything is great and like the end. But I've noticed like it kind of takes away from the ending for me. And maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. But this one did not have a bonus scene. I just finished it. I just read the last pages of it and put it into my call pile, and I loved this so much. So I really think what I said earlier stands true, that if you like the Done and Dusted series, the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage, I really think you should give these a shot because they really do have great relationships. They have great communication in these books, and I love that so much. It's not a miscommunication trope that shows up in these books. It's communication that you see them having real issues going on and real worries that they're dealing with. In this one specifically, it was that she had been hurt before. She was a foster kid. She felt like everybody that like she loved in her life would eventually leave her. So she had those kind of commitment issues. And then for him, he was always like a people pleaser. He was trying to kind of hide the hardships that he was facing, the things that were stressing him out, the things that he was having trouble with, because he was trying to make everybody else happy. He was taking on too many things and not making any time for himself. And part of the reason for that is because his dad developed Alzheimer's, and he's been rapidly declining. So part of it is taking care of his dad. He's trying to make sure that everything is okay with his family and having his own veterinary clinic and so he's such a big-hearted guy. And that's what I love with these books too, is that the guys that are in this book, and this is dual POV, so you're getting both perspectives, Callum and June in this book, which I love. I love that. When you are getting the guy's perspective of how obsessed he is with her, how much he is so infatuated with her, I think that's the sweetest thing in the world. Seeing his perspective and his look at him looking at her and like knowing his thoughts about her, I love that so much. I think that is what really sells me on a romance book, is having his perspective, because it just makes it so much sweeter. And these guys in these books, Malcolm in the first book and now Callum in this book, they are these rough, like, you know, big bulky guys that are like super strong and very masculine and definitely like a man's man, but they have the biggest hearts, and they're completely family oriented. And it does remind me a lot of the Rebel Blue Ranch brothers because of that. So that being said, this is 5 stars. It was absolutely incredible. I highly recommend this series. Highly recommend it. They are so good, and it's small town. There's good communication. There's no third act breakup in this one or the first one, and they're just such big-hearted sweet guys, and I loved it. I think that they're so good. I feel like this is definitely an underhyped series because I don't hear anybody talking about these. For as much as I watch people that read horror, thrillers, romance, fantasy, romantasy, everything, I don't think I've ever seen anybody talk about this series. and I feel like somebody needs to. Because these books are amazing. These books are so good. They don't have the highest rating on Goodreads, but not a lot of romances do because everybody has their own preferences. Personally, I love these. I think they are top tier. They are fantastic romances. I love these books. So yeah, that's my take on Scotch on the Rocks. Maccabee Brothers. Whiskey Business being the first one. The cover of it is right here. Elliot Fletcher, Whiskey Business. I really think if you like the Rebel Blue Branch, I think you would enjoy these. So now we have one book down. I have one more book to start. We have a thriller, and I hope that it's going to be kind of a fun, lighthearted thriller. I haven't started it yet. I have been glued to the last 200 pages of this book today, so I haven't started it yet like I was originally planning on. So maybe I'll start that, and maybe I'll start another one. I don't know yet. I was planning on having this video out the end of this week, but I think I'm going to postpone that because I did my Romantasy bingo board video earlier that I'm going to post this week. And I'm going to kind of take a step back and take a break this month, not put too much stress on myself to get out a million videos. I didn't do any planning today. I got dinner ready. I got jerky prepared. I got it sliced up and seasoned and in the fridge so that way it can marinate for a couple days. And so yeah, I got that stuff done, but I haven't really done anything else other than read. So I am going to grab my next book so that way I can get it started and then just kind of figure out kind of what I want to do. So that being said, I will talk to you guys when I have my next updates. Bye. Hello, so it is now the next day. I only have a few minutes to talk to you guys before I need to leave because my daughter has a doctor's appointment this morning. But I wanted to come on here and update you really quickly because I've started You'd Look Better as a Ghost by Joanna Wallace. I am currently 102 pages in. I'm on chapter 10. This book is following a woman named Claire. Now, Claire had a really, really rough childhood. Her mom was just not a good woman. Her mom had some major issues. Now that Claire is an adult, her father has recently passed away. He had dementia and he has passed away. And Claire just so happens to be a serial killer as well. So a serial killer who got sloppy when she was going through the grief of her father dying. And now she is having to deal with people that have figured out who she might be, and she's going through to a grief support group, a bereavement group, and talking with a group there. And this book is very, very, very strange. I almost DNF'd it right away because there's a lot of repetition, a ton of it, at the beginning of this book, and I wasn't really sure about it, and it's very odd. You are following first person in her POV, and Claire she's just odd. At one point she says that she wishes she would have brought her hammer to be able to kill somebody. She put a guy's head in her fish tank after she drowned him and said it would make a good decoration. Like she's not quite all lined up properly. Very, very strange, but I am super intrigued by it. The writing is interesting for sure. I don't know if it's my favorite writing style. I don't know if this is going to be something that I absolutely love or not, but I definitely think it's interesting. I'm glad I didn't DNF it. I'm glad I continued because we know of at least 2 people that she has killed. The first one, his name is Lucas, and he is part of the art scene. Now, Claire is an artist. She sent in a painting of hers or an art piece of hers to try and get into the short list and top 10 and having her work in galleries and whatnot. She got an email from this guy, Lucas, who was part of the art community, saying that she had made it to the short list, congratulations, and this, that, and the other. And then he sent her another email saying that he sent it to the wrong person and that she actually wasn't shortlisted. It happens. It's a mistake. But he says, I'm really, really sorry. And she's like, I wonder if he's really sorry. I wonder if he's really sorry. So she stalks him. She goes and she finds him and she follows him. And she's like, well, he's not sorry. He's not really sorry. He doesn't mean it. And so she takes him home and makes him think that they're gonna sleep together, and instead she kills him. So it's very, very different. It's really strange, but I'm definitely intrigued. I'm curious to see where this is gonna go, because somebody found out about kind of what she's doing, and I'm kind of curious to see where that plot line is gonna go, because that person is no longer around. So I'm really curious to see like what the heck this is gonna do with this book. It's very different from any other thrillers or whatever that I've read. It is kind of funny because it's just so out there that you're just reading it and you're like, this girl's crazy. This chick is seriously crazy. But I'm intrigued, and I think it's an interesting perspective to read from. I like reading from the perspective of serial killers, apparently. The one that I read, oh shit, it was The One. When I read The One by John Mars, I thought the perspective of the serial killer was super, super interesting. However, with that book, I was really disappointed that he didn't take it like 1 or 2 steps farther with that plot line. So it was with The One. I thought it was super interesting reading from the perspective of a serial killer. When I read Red Dragon, I thought it was super interesting with Hannibal Lecter, reading his views and his interactions. I don't even remember off the top of my head right now, but I think that's a really, really interesting perspective to read from. And if it's done right, it can be really, really good. So I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those where she does take it that extra step farther, and that ends up being a really great read for me. Like I said, I wasn't sure about how I was going to like this one to start with how repetitive it got. It was talking about being at her father's memorial, and they kept saying rattled over and over and over, that it rattled her. He was never rattled. And she was just like, I don't think a memorial has ever had the word rattled spoken at it so many times ever. And it was really strange. So the repetitiveness at the beginning, it really got me, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I'm excited to continue. I'm really excited to see where the hell this book is going to go, because like I said, it's very strange, but I think she's played it out well so far, about like, because we're getting kind of some past perspectives from when Claire was a child, when she's like 4 or 5 years old, and the things that her mom did to her to traumatize her. And so we're getting like little snippets of that, and it's kind of coinciding with what's happening in the story, at least a little bit. It has like a connection, like a little thread of a connection. So I'm really curious to see how all of that ends up playing out. What happened with her mom and how that's turned her into the woman that she is, because her dad seems like he's just like a normal guy, or he was just like a normal guy. But I don't know. I'm definitely curious. So I'm gonna go to town, get my stuff done. Making chicken enchiladas tonight. It's my mom's recipe, and they are so good. So I have the chicken in the fridge because I already cooked that. And so I'm gonna make chicken enchiladas tonight, and I'm gonna take my daughter to her appointment. I gotta stop by the store and get cheese because I forgot the dang cheese the other day. And then I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna read this. And hopefully, I don't know if I'll finish this today, but I'll finish it today or tomorrow because it's not very long. It's 320, a little over 320 pages, and I'm already 100 pages in. So it's reading really quickly. And so yeah, that's my plan for today. And if there is, if there's a possibility, I might go to the bookstore today, because I didn't realize my kids actually have off tomorrow. And the cost of going to Barnes & Noble with all 3 of my kids, like at least doubles what I spend at Barnes & Noble if we all go in. So I don't know if I'm gonna go into Barnes & Noble like I was planning on this week or not. But either way, I need to get going so that way we can make it to this appointment on time. It is almost 10 o'clock, but I just want to come on, give you an update. It's definitely intrigued about this one. Very curious to see where it's gonna go. I have no clue what I'm gonna rate this one, so we'll see. I'm having a good time though. I'm definitely curious. So I will talk to you guys later. Sorry, that sun, as always. Talk to you guys later. Hey, what's up? Good morning, guys, and happy Monday. So I am back. I did finish You'd Look Better as a Ghost. I finished this one Saturday evening, and then I haven't filmed anything all weekend. So that would be why I haven't come on here and talked to you. This book was very odd. So this book is following Claire, and Claire is a serial killer. We get flashbacks to when she was a little girl, and she had a lot of issues with her mom, but she was very close with her dad. her mom was one of those that she felt like her daughter was taking the attention away from her, and so she would be kind of abusive towards Claire because of that. And so there was a lot of issues there. And Claire, being a serial killer as an adult, she just lost her dad, and now she's going to a bereavement group to try and deal with her grief. And in the whole process of this, she meets Gemma. Gemma is another one who is in the bereavement group, but it just so happens that Gemma has a lot of secrets. And those secrets come to light pretty early on, and then it's a whole mystery of somebody knows what Claire is doing as a serial killer, and she's trying to figure out who it is and how to stop it. This book was very, very odd. Claire was definitely an interesting character to follow. Very different than what I'm used to. Very different from what I'm used to. It was definitely an interesting perspective. It was one of those things that she's not an excessively likable character, but it was interesting. I thought this was very, very intriguing. My final rating for this one, I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. I was surprised by it. I did have a good time with it. It's maybe not my favorite book of all time, but and I don't think I would particularly read it again. I think it'll be kind of forgettable, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it while I was reading it. And like I said, I thought it was super interesting. So that being said, these are the 2 books that I read for this scavenger hunt. I'm really, really glad that I read these. I loved Scotch on the Rocks. This is the second book to Whiskey Business by Elliot Fletcher. It's the Maccabee Brothers series. I've mentioned this before. But I wanted to mention again that I really think that if you like the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage, I really think that you could enjoy these ones. They're Scottish, and they're sweet, and they're really good books, and they feel like really real characters with real problems. This one, I think, is definitely an interesting take. If you like reading books where you're in the mind of a serial killer, I think that you could like this. It's definitely a different one, so I'm not entirely sure who I would recommend this to, but it was really interesting. I'm sorry, my daughter is filming her own video right now, which is what we're hearing in the background, so I apologize. She has my little mini tripod set up, and she's holding her books up as well. But either way, I'm really, really glad that I finally read these. So that is 2 more books down that I've read, and that is the end of this video. So if you enjoyed this video, if I have talked you into trying the Maccabee Brothers series, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you see the connections, if I get you to read them, anything like that, I would love to see that down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. I know this video wasn't my most exciting. It's pretty much just been me sitting here and checking in. I didn't really get any B-roll with this video, but I'm hoping that that's going to change. We have a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to try and pre-film and have stuff prepped and ready to go, and then a lot of hunting and a lot of outdoor stuff. I'm really going to kick it into gear for my activities for this month, and I'm going to try and do kind of like a vlog with including those things as I go. So I've got some ideas bouncing around in my head. Nothing is fully formed yet or fully started yet, but it is going to change at the end of this video. But thank you so much again for hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye!